Yeah. If you say so.
So let's see. Um,
Yep, we're live. Just waiting for the chat to load.
Mander, you don't want to sit on me when he's in my lap. You don't. Mander, no, look down here. No, Mander, you're gonna get me killed. Mander, come here.
Oh, poor man did he run away from the aunties?
Yeah, he did, and
And
now he's got himself. No, you can't sit on me when he's in my lap. He just won't let me do that, Mander. You leave him alone. Sugar, no, Sugar, don't do it. No. There you go, Mander. Sugar. Sugar. No. Sugar. Sugar. Cut it out. Leave him alone. Stop. Diesel. Be nice. Okay. 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 Okay.
Calvin says, am I late or early? Well, you're right on time, Calvin. So hello to you, and hello to Eliza, and hello to Dirty Birds.
Hello, guys. Where'd you go, KK? Oh, there you are. You go back there. Yeah. Hi. What's up, KK? What you doing? Oh, baby boy. Yeah. Mander. Sugar, leave him alone. Sugar. Mander. Bad choice. Mander. Mander. No. I don't have a place for you to sit over here. Do you see who's down there? Do you see that? Oh, just get a little closer. Just see how close you can get before you die. Stop it. Mander. No. Mander. Get out of there. No. Go somewhere else. Get up here. Mander, calm down.
the meeting starting good. Live stream with Amanda panicking. He was just squeezed between his Auntie Sugar and Auntie Jasmine. And the first couple of seconds, he was the happiest boy in the world. But then he realized, oh no, my aunties are the most dangerous things in the world. I need to get off until they realize I'm sitting here.
And the idea of Sugar chasing somebody seems so stupid, but she's actually quite terrifying when she does it.
Mm-hmm. The only good thing is she's still quite slow in it, but not that slow as she was. So Amanda cannot run as fast as he would like to. So Yeah, he also sometimes has problems to get away from a point.
Mm.
He has that twisted pelvis, which makes it difficult for him to move. Is he again back there with his aunties? They have moved
Yeah, they're
too.
not. He's just acting crazy, and they're just looking at him like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, now he's just flopping about like he's falling off the rope. What are you doing, Manda?
Being a silly boy.
Being a big
Gets
chicken.
into a blind panic sometimes.
Cecil, no, don't you mess with him. Mander, just sit somewhere. I wish he could understand English.
Have we already answered for Calvin Thurston?
Yeah.
No, it's early.
Stop it, Cecil. All right, come here, Cecil.
I-
Come here. I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I'm taking it from you because he needs a little break.
I nearly missed the me live stream today. I was like sitting and nearly to fall asleep until I realized, oh no, wait, you have something to do.
Yeah.
It is a holiday in Germany, so it feels more like Sunday than actual Monday.
Oh, that's nice. You get a
Mhm.
bank holiday.
Yeah, Easter Monday is holiday.
Yeah. I think it might be one for us, but in academia we don't get bank holidays.
Mhm. Oh, that's interesting.
So we get it added to our annual leave entitlement, but we don't get that day off. We can take it another day. So I was
Ah.
mocking all day. So that was fun.
So Falconso is here and suggests that Don needs a timeout cage in the aviary for emergencies. And
And
Dirty
fortunately,
Birdsing says, do they scream at night like my cockatoo Ace?
no, because when it's dark, they go to sleep. If the only thing that would cause them to make noise is if you're making enough noise to keep them awake, and I don't. So I turn the lights out. They grind their beaks for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then they go to sleep unless I start making noise and wake them up. So if there's no noise and it's dark, completely dark, they should go to sleep.
Do you leave the fans running while they're sleeping?
On low, yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like an aircraft getting ready to taxi when I have them on during the day, but a lot of dust. They pick up a lot of dust. Yeah. Is that what you have to say, KK? You've been pretty restrained today. You had Mander within a foot of you, and you didn't attack him. You gave him a look, but you didn't attack him. Yeah, didn't you? Yeah, yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Are you
with
down here to
with
see
the
your?
timeout cage, if Don put somebody in it, then they might get attacked in the cage. I think that's the worry.
There is one outside the aviary behind the windscreen, which is just a tarp. But yeah, there's one back there. So if I actually had a major problem, I could take them out of the aviary and put them in there. But only problem with that cage, I don't think that a cat could get to them because it's plexiglass, and the only air vents are at the top. But we do have cats. We have neighbors who breed them without restraint. So there's plenty of cats around here. Yeah, I know you want to come down, but you have the same issue. This little guy doesn't like pink birds. You can come down later when he goes inside, okay? Okay? Jazzy Jazz Bird? You know. Yeah, you're smart enough to know she's not acting like she wants down here. He's just looking like, I wish I were down there. Mander's finally calmed down.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Sugar's got something on her mind, though. What are you doing, Chug?
And Rosebud joined us. Say hello, Rosebud.
Hello, Rosebud. Sugar, if you want to come over here, you can. Chug, he says, I know. I can climb over. It must be nice to be a
Chug.
hookbill, huh? That's the Chug.
Is she trying the upside down move of Pippa? Silly girl.
So with her long legs, she can probably pull it off.
Cecil, you need to preen him so he doesn't get upset. Yeah, you can climb up there if you want. Yes, you can climb up there if you want. Well, come on. Nut. Thank you, Cecil. He's preening KK so KK won't get upset with Sugar being so close.
Oh, that's nice. Cecil.
Eliza Wins would like to know how's hormone season treating you?
I don't think it ever stops around me. It's just different birds seem to be in that condition at different times. It used to be pretty well defined, but not anymore. Yes, I know. I know what the sugar wants. Pet the sugar. Pet the beak. I should. So I walked all this way, climbed all the way over here. You have to pet me.
Oh, I should tell Sugar all about my hot date yesterday. She'd be super jealous. I went to the beach and then I went on a hot date to Burger King afterwards. And between us, my husband and I had 3 double cheeseburgers and 3 large French fries.
French fries.
Although a large in the UK is quite a lot smaller than a large in the US. I think a large in the UK is slightly smaller than a small in the US. Our portion sizes are way different. But they were very nice French fries.
Yeah, you can horrify someone here, but there's a restaurant called the Claim Jumper. You can horrify somebody by taking them there. Imagine the American portions and then quadruple them. I went there first time. A friend of mine who happened to be from London said, well, let me take you to lunch. So he takes me to lunch there, and I'm looking at the menu, and this all looks like too much. He says, I just have the baked potato. So I had the baked potato. Yeah, they brought it out, and you almost needed like a cart to bring the thing out. It must have weighed 2 pounds, and I said everything on it, and it had mounds of everything just covering it. I won't be able to walk after I eat that. That was just a baked potato.
Was
And you
it
go there
was
and
it one potato or was it multiple potatoes or was it a giant mutant potato?
a giant mutant potato. I have never seen a potato that big.
Was it like pumpkin size or something?
Pretty close. Yeah, small pumpkin.
God.
Yep.
Wow.
And people go there and they decide what they want to eat. They order one order and 3 people eat it. That's how much food they put on the table.
Good Lord.
Fortunately, if you add a salad, they have a salad bar, so you don't bring this giant salad and set it in front of you. But I think there are some like dinner salads that look like a meal in themselves, but you just order salad bar and then get what you want. That's the best thing to go there for, a salad bar, unless you really want to overeat.
What I find really crazy in the US is the size of the drinks cartons, though. Because if you go to a fast food place over there, like you get a large drink and it's literally a gallon, and then you get unlimited refills, so people fill it back up before they leave. It's just wild.
Yeah.
So we
Over
have a question.
Yeah.
Calvin would like to know, when is homing season for sulfur-crested cockatoos?
Well, there's there's more than one variety. There's the Indonesian version, and then there's the which is the lesser sulfur crested, and the Albati. I don't think anybody knows on the Albati. And then there's the Australian, the greater sulfurs. I'm not actually sure. With Tritons, it corresponds to about the same as that would be for an umbrella cockatoo, but I'm not sure on their graders and the Albatis and lessers. The Albatis and lessers are equatorial, so it's not like the weather's. It's not like the weather or the temperature changes to indicate when they're going to have hormone season. It's the same weather all the time. I can research that, but I don't honestly know. And part of the problem is that it used to be about from March until September is when I would see the mating behavior. We can't see into their bodies. So calling it hormonal that means we're psychic, so we're not. So, my first behaviorist teacher taught me to call it that. Now I don't really see any distinction, so I'm not sure. The weather here doesn't change much, but the birds I have with me mostly aren't affected by the weather. Therums and umbrellas, Cockatoo alba, they're equatorial. So, but before it was
But the cockatoos in Australia, they have a mating season, which is in spring. But does it shift when you moved in towards the northern hemisphere? So is it there also in spring, or is it when there's spring in Australia?
I'm not sure anyone has the answer to that.
Okay.
I can't give a good answer on umbrellas anymore because I've seen them, doing mating behavior in the middle of winter. So I think with captives, it's an unknown. And in the wild, it might be spurred by some kind of collective behavior, and I don't know what spurs it. It's probably temperature that does it in Australia, but for the equatorial birds, no one knows. At least no one knows why, and nobody follows them because it's a horrendous place to do research. So I don't think too many people are writing grant applications so they can go live in Indonesia. It's not
is Sugar preening you, or is she pulling hairs?
I guess it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. When she preens me, pulls my hair. She wants me to pet her, that's for sure. And if I pet her while she's pulling my hair, I'm reinforcing the behavior, so I get more of it. But I'm not that worried about my hair. So, hi, baby.
So
how are you doing?
Actually, Sugar can preen, huh, Shuggy?
Sort of.
She can. She's better pulling out things, I think, than actually preening. But I have seen her preen a couple of times. She's pretty decent looking.
we have another question by HDHD Kids in Cockatoo Toad. The question is, or what is written, I have an attention-seeking, over-obsessed cockatoo male, who's 5. I've had him 3 years. Would getting another settle him down?
No, no, especially not when he just became sexually active. No, you don't want to do that. Getting another cockatoo is usually the wrong choice for that. And the reason is that if the two birds become bonded, even if they're two males and they start to hang out a lot together, then there's more chance that they're going to be territorial, and that means that there's a better chance for biting and screaming, defending their cages, that kind of thing. The other thing is it's going to cost you another $1,000 for a decent cage. So you get another cockatoo, you're going to have a separate cage. You can't have them in the same cage. You can if you don't mind them killing each other. I say that because people often don't listen to to the advice of those that have learned the hard way. I didn't learn the hard way as far as having birds attack each other, but I knew people who did. So no, you don't want to do that. The only reason to get another rescue is to rescue another bird, and then you may have issues between the birds. So
I've written that when the cockatoo is 5 years old, he's probably in bird puberty right now. So that's probably also the reason why he gets a little, strange sometimes. So it's the time between their actual childhood and baby phase and then becoming adults. And in this time they, can be a handful of work, right, Mander? Because Mander basically came into the sanctuary when he became a teenager and the person who had him couldn't handle him anymore.
KK went in the bucket. I brought him down. I hope so. He won't like it if he's sitting on my
Have you
cage.
been once a teenager? A bird in puberty.
Yeah.
He came about when he was 4. So with cockatoos, 3 to 4 years, it's when they start getting into these phase, and it can be until they are 10 years old after they finally settled and become full adults.
Yeah, it's a tough time, and it's a tough time for them and for the people who have them. Imagine the way to think of it is like a 14-year-old girl in an all-male school. They're just looking, they're just looking around at everything around them as if I can have that, I can have this. It's just because they're looking for a mate. In the wild, that's what they would be doing. They would be looking to find a pair. So it's a difficult time, and we don't understand our kids when they reach those ages. And when these guys reach those ages, it's like trying to deal with an alien, right? He's out of that stage now, so I can pet him a little longer on the head, but
the thing is, when you get another cockatoo and your cockatoo is in the teenage age, when you get a young cockatoo, a baby cockatoo, so I think the baby cockatoo is somehow confused by the nearly adult, and real adults are like, oh no, teenagers. So I think it's maybe not the best time.
No, and you should never
What
buy a
happens
baby
when
bird.
you combine 2 teenagers? You know from humans that what can happen. And I don't mean babies, so I mean pure cows.
You should never buy a baby bird. You should always rescue a bird that needs help. We can't support these breeders because they need to be gone. We need to get rid of them. Because these guys, they should be growing up in a flock and knowing what's going on. And instead, they're raised by humans and totally confused. And then when they go through that period where they start becoming adults, they don't know where to turn. That's when most people decide to get rid of their birds, because they do have these issues and they don't understand. And how can you understand what's going on unless you've done a lot of study on it? If you read the manual of parrot behavior, you will understand what they're going through, but it's a tough time. And they can start biting and screaming and doing all kinds of behaviors you don't want. They can start plucking their feathers at that age because they miss steps in their development. And the
Oh,
birds
it looks like one of the problems with ADHD kids is that the cockatoo, I guess his name is Todd, attacks the partner now.
Yeah, well, if they're doing that, that means you probably got the bird bond. It's trying to bond to you, so it's going to attack anyone who looks like they're trying to steal you from them, and that's because improper handling, or the bird just decides to imprint on you and say, "Oh, that's going to be my mate." You can fix it if you have some training and you have some patience. I have several birds here that are several. I have 3 that are mated to me because when they came to me, they were in such bad shape. I had to give them extra attention. Yeah, are you telling me that? Yeah, I mated to you? Yes, I know that. But if you see it, you see how sweet this girl is. I dare you to walk up and try to pet her when she's close to me. You'll leave with a different impression of her, and it'll be on you, and it'll probably heal in a week or 2. It will definitely make an impression on you.
An impression on your face.
Yeah, she's made it to me, and Jasmine is, but it's not too bad. I had to work hard with her to keep her from tearing into her flesh. So same with Peach. Bob has made it to me, and that's a big problem. He'll just haul off on go after another bird just because he thinks they get too close to me. So yeah, it's not something to be taken lightly, having more than one. Yeah, I know. You're being good over there, KK. KK sees Mander sitting on the chair, and he's not having a problem with that. And KK's right over there. He's just preening. He knows Mander is sitting on the chair, and he's not doing anything. That's something when he first got here, it was his person died, so he came all the way down from Alaska, and I kind of became his next mate without any choice. He isn't mated to me, so he will defend me. And he used to chase Mander around because Mander gets a little bit scared and he just runs. And as soon as he would run, then KK would say, "Oh, running bird, I'm going to go get him." So I've worked hard now for over a year on that, and it's getting much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cockatoos would like more to know about how one can fix when a cockatoo has bonded to you and doesn't like the partner of the human.
Yeah, so, it's the same basic technique you use when you initially deal with a bird. First thing you have to do is, everybody's heard this before, so except for the person asking the question. It's a good question though. You want to take treats like sunflower seeds, cashews, almonds, little pieces of different kinds of foods the bird likes. If you have a list, put them in front of the bird at one time. Preferably in the morning after you've taken the food out the night before. And then whatever they take off the tray first, that's what you're going to use to train. It may change over time, but that's going to be your training food. Don't give it to them at any other time, just when you're training. Now what you're going to do, now that you have that training food, you're going to start with protective contact, which is you're going to the bird that, or the person that is being dealt with aggressively by the bird, is going to go over to the cage where when the bird is inside of it, and preferably on a spoon or some other thing, put that treat and hand it over to the bird. Okay. Or if they can drop it into the bowl while the bird is watching, you want to do that. You want to do that intermittently during the day. when the bird is in the cage. And another thing you want to do is to sit in a chair and look at the bird while it's looking at you for a second, and then give it a treat. Again, if you can do that without the bird biting you, handing it straight over is your best bet. If not, put it on a spoon or something and hand it over. And you want to build that time up from 1 second to 2 seconds to 3 seconds until the bird will sit there and look at you for 30 seconds. And you could do it. Everybody in this place is, KK's up to where he can do it for 15 seconds. So you want to work that, because if the bird's paying attention to you, it's not going to be aggressive, and it's expecting that treat on that time schedule. Stick to the time schedule, though. Don't try messing around with it. If you're just doing it for a second, then stay with 1 second. Use a watch. Their sense of time is better than ours. So use a watch. Make sure that you stick to the time. So the first technique, where you just come by and give them randomly a treat, that's called come bearing gifts. And it makes them see you and wonder if you're going to bring them something they like. It's like when you see kids, if you hand out candy to kids and they see you, and you notice how they run up to you afterwards, it's the same technique. And the other one is calm attention. You're getting them to pay attention to you. The story that I usually tell on that one is my friend in Australia, one of my friends in Australia. He commented on watching a video from Dr. Zelig. He said, well, of course you can train these animals. They're all paying attention to her. And I laughed and I said, yeah, that's why she teaches them using calm attention. So they will pay attention to her. And that's why that technique is so strong. But if you do those two things, that's the beginning of getting the other person to be accepted by the bird. Once they're bonded to you, this technique works terribly well. It'll work on birds, even birds that aren't bonded to anyone. I had a Amazon here that I was working on, not here, but at our other location, and he wouldn't let a man near him. And using just those two techniques, in 2 weeks, he was out in the aviary. This aviary, it was at a different location, but this aviary, running around right over my head, coming down and sitting in my lap, having me pet him a little bit on the head and run off again. So the techniques work, but you got to remember to be consistent, and that the rewards have to be given, we call it contingently. There has to be contingency. Never give, when you're doing the calm attention, never give the reward outside the time frame. If it's 1 second, 1 second. If it's 5 seconds, 5 seconds. And you have to be consistent, which means that the other thing is, when you're doing the calm attention, always use the same hand to hand over something. When you're doing the come bearing gifts, if you're right-handed, use your right hand. Always hand it over in the same way. So you're going to hand over the treat, and they'll take it from your hand. You make it, if this is how you hand it the first time, you hand it like that. And if you're going to hand it over, you hand it over like this. Okay? That doesn't mean the next time you come up and go like that. Next time you come up and go like this. Always present it the same way. And that way they get used to it. Later on, you can vary it a little bit. Later on, if you've been going like this, okay, you can start to go a little faster. Okay? And then you can start coming like this and maybe vary the angle of your hand. But don't do that in the beginning. Because you never know. They never know what you're doing if you keep changing the way you approach. So be consistent and use contingency. Never give it outside the frame that you're training. Easy on come bearing gifts, because you're just trying to give it, randomly. But those are important. Call that the 3 C's. So. Yeah, it's hard to give a basic training methods just casually, because I didn't learn them casually. I was required to pass tests on doing this. And I remember one video of the guy training an Amazon that no one could touch, and he made a mistake. He brought his hand up with the treat, but he brought it too close because he was teaching step up to a bird that would bite your hand off. he was teaching step up, and he brought it too close, and then he pulled his hand back. Never do that. That's like, offering a kid candy, and then want a Hershey bar kid, and as soon as they put their hand out, you pull it back, and they don't trust you after that, right? With birds, it's going to take a long time to build that trust back. So if you accidentally do something, just go with it the way it is, and then the next time correct it, because we're not perfect, but we're going to make mistakes. But these guys kind of expect us to be perfect, don't you? Don't you? What are you doing sitting up here so close to me? What are you doing? Huh? Big girl. I hope that helps.
We have some comments from Calvin. It's I'll try to find the right treats first, but as it is, they want pets over food. So yeah, I think that's a little difficult when you want to retrain your bird not to be that mated to you, but the treat is petting. That's
It can be a tough one.
Well, that's for something like about 80%, that's just a guess roughly, of birds like peanut butter. So you can try peanut butter on a craft stick. You get one of these little like popsicle sticks and you put a little bit of peanut butter on it. That's a great one. Then try almond butter, then try cashew butter, try all the different butters, because once they get that taste, well, you can see what he's doing. He's just taking a little bit, he's pulling it, he's taking something out of his crop that's already pre-digested and using it as a like chewing gum, right? So they like that kind of stickiness in their mouth, in their beak. So try those. Then you can try other things. I mean, it's not good for them to have sugary stuff, but if you have to in a training situation, you can use something like a low sugar jam or something that might get them triggered. Try banana. Just try different things until you find something. Obviously, the petting will work for you in training, but it's not going to work for your partner who's got an issue with the bird. And it's not the bird's fault. It's normal for them to do that. Birds will normally kind of push the other animals away from their mate. And most of us don't endeavor to be mated to a bird, but it happens. And then you got to deal with it. So yeah, if you have a bird that's like that too, and you think about like, well, I'll bring another bird in, that's definitely a bad thing to do, because if it's another of the same sex, it may see it as a rival. If it's another of a different sex, it may just confuse the bird and make the situation worse. So every time I bring a bird in, it took a year, and it's not quite done. For this little guy over here, KK, I'm trying to get him to where he wouldn't be attacking the pink birds. He's kind of a racist. He doesn't. If you're not his species, he's not too thrilled with you. But
the pink birds are really strange.
yeah,
There's only one island where they live on.
Where Snowball looks at the pink birds is like, oh, they're so interesting. He's just fascinated by them, but
must be higher living.
Yeah. And the pink ones are like, oh, it's a white bird. It must preen me. So what do you want? You want down here? I don't know if KK will let me have two of you guys on me at once.
It looks like the cockatoo from HDHD kids. The cockatoo toad has now bonded to his human, and he was in bad conditions when they got him. He had previous owners who just caged him and made him aggressive. So, and the thing is now he has bonded to his human, but in this family live another adult and babies or kids. So, Yeah, that's basically the problem. And I think, yeah, what you said, Don, is absolutely good. That the situation would probably not be improved much when, or not improved at all when you bring another cockatoo in at the moment. I think the best is finding a way to deal with the problems you face now before you think of getting another two. So it definitely will not solve the problem of the cockatoo being mated to a human.
No, it's kind of doing that is Russian roulette. It's like putting a bullet in a gun and spinning it, 6-shooter, and then pulling the trigger. Sometimes you're not going to get shot, but you're adding something to that situation that could be highly explosive. And if you can't handle one bird, you can't handle two. It's just the way it is. They're just not like us, and it's difficult for us to. He's more interested in playing with his gum he's making there than preening you, girl. I know that's what you want. This one will just stick her head normally right into umbrella cockatoo's face. Preen me, preen me.
No social graces at all.
No, not when it comes to that. I should guess I know I'm petting Jasmine. I'm not supposed to. I'm dealing with two bonded birds right here. One fortunately, she wants to be preened by Cecil, and so I can pet Sugar Bird, but
So, and GTH joined us, so hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hey, GTH. Hello. Yeah, if you can't drive one car, you shouldn't just go out and get another car and see how well that works.
Well, it is an idea. Most people probably have that when you see that your cockatoo tries to mate with you, to think, oh, if I give him a appropriate partner, maybe it stops. But with these big guys, they are so smart, and especially when they are not raised by other cockatoos, so they don't work normal. So that might go terribly well, and sometimes they basically then attack each other, which they wouldn't, of course, not do in the wild, but the way they are raised, they don't know what to do with another cockatoo. So
we don't even know if they know they are birds.
and
They
that's
probably
also
don't.
another thing why they probably mate with humans, since they just have no idea what's the right thing to mate with. But it's always possible to give the cockatoo clues and retrain the cockatoo, so you can basically have a good relationship with your cockatoo without the cockatoo being bonded to you, and the cockatoo can accept your children and your partner, so that everybody in the household is safe, has a good time.
Yeah, you want to limit the amount of interaction between a cockatoo and a child, because there's a number of good reasons for it. But if something happened, let's say that the kids are playing and another child that they don't know runs up and they turn around and bite your kid, that's your fault. Because the reason it's your fault is because someone else was allowed into the situation who came up and approached someone that was in their flock. So the way they defend each other in the wild is to reach around and bite their mates, because they're only biting feathers, to warn them that there's danger. So if your child gets bitten in that situation, what most people do is they get rid of the bird. I got to tell you, I get rid of the people, because you don't know what you're doing, right? In that situation. If and the same thing can happen to you. If you have a long lost relative who comes up and throws their arms around you, you could well get bitten by the bird that's bonded to you, because they're protecting you. But most people take it totally wrong and like, I've got to protect my child. Well, you know what? Then you should train your children to and explain to them how certain situations can cause biting behavior. And the real problem is the breeders and the pet stores that sell birds and, oh, this bird will always be sweet like this, or they give you some line, and it's just not the case.
And one also can see when they are mistreated in young ages. Our Amanda was not kept well when he was a baby bird, so then they have bonding issues when they are older. So of course you want to be a good owner and be there for your bird all the time. But the thing is, you don't do your bird a favor when actually your bird identifies you as a mate. Don had the issue with Babalu, that Babalu was also mistreated, and then he allowed him to bond because he was so desperate. But it has also provoked some issues, right, Don?
Oh, no question about it. And this is something that I can bring him out into the aviary, which we can't come out here all the time, but for part of the day I can bring him to the aviary, but I just can't bring him back into that socialization room anymore. Just because if I turn my head, he will leap off my lap and go after another bird just because the bird's close to me. And the odds are it's not going to be the other bird that gets hurt because he's a big chicken anyway. But I can give an example, like when we would go to the Renaissance fairs when we lived in California, I would have kids, there'd be a bunch of kids around, and it's like, this all of you? The first question, nobody else is coming up, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I would take Bob, would go over there and he could pet Bob, no problem at all. I'm walking down one of the trails in the Renaissance Fair, and this big guy who's, 2 or 3 inches taller than me and thinks he's big and buff, bumps me. And if I hadn't had my hand, which I, of course, held Bob's feet whenever we were in a crowd, Bob would rip his eyes out because that's where he was going right for the guy's eyes. How dare he, bump my mate? So I can have him held by kids, no problem. I mean, anybody can hold him. I just have to watch the situation and make sure nobody's going to rush up or nobody's going to try to touch me. All right. If you don't know that kind of thing, you're putting yourself and your family in danger. So it's best to learn how they react. And if you know they're bonded to you, then you want to use these techniques so that everyone in your family will be accepted by the bird as part of the flock. And even then, you got to remember, though, that if someone comes into the environment or something happens and they feel like they have to protect you, that can even be like someone walks in the house and they're carrying something that frightens the bird may just turn around and bite you. I've had so many people tell me that, well, it just bit me out of the blue. No, it didn't. They never do that. They never bite out of the blue. There's always a reason for it. So, and if you had cameras all over the house, then, and they were all, you could go back and you could see the cause. You could watch where the bird's eyes focused. You could see the reaction and then see them turn and bite. So I've done it. Part of my training was to do just exactly that, was to record birds in situations to see what's going on. So they're complicated. You could learn to operate a nuclear reactor easier than you can learn behavior. So much more complicated.
So Florabella Bell is here.
Thank you for not doing that to me. Usually
And
it goes over.
no, we are not, or Don is not in California anymore. He is now in Nevada, in the city of Pahrump. I think it's now about 1 year that we found a permanent home for the sanctuary in Pahrump, Nevada, and the birds love it there. They say, yeah, desert life.
Yeah, we have good weather about 4 months of the year. At 4 to 5 months they can be out in the aviary, and the rest of the time they're stuck in the socialization room. You hate to put them in a cage because it's like putting him in a cell in a prison. No matter how what good toys you have in there, it's still limiting a bird that should be flying around free. So, but they get out, don't you? Don't you, bird? Don't you?
Mm.
Sugar bird. Look at that bird. She actually likes to go back to her cage. She get out here for a couple hours. When I start trying to bring other birds out and switch things around, he goes back in. He does not do well with Snowball. Snowball doesn't hurt him, but Snowball's a warrior, so won't leave him alone. Amanda doesn't like to be out with him.
Well, Snowball sits super close to him and watches intensely, which is kind of terrifying to Andrew.
Yeah. Yep. And then Lorelei is an issue with him too because she's a minx and she just likes to get crazy sometimes and scare other birds. And she calms down after 5 minutes or so, but he doesn't do well in those situations, and you get afraid he's going to hurt himself.
Mm.
Yeah, right, Mander. You come down, okay. Come on, Mander. Hi. And then what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What's Mander want? I can't pet you with the hand you're sitting on. Yeah, you know that, don't you? Not possible. If you want to sit somewhere so I can pet you, you want back up there? All right.
Mm.
Watch where their eyes go. That's how you want me to pet you while you're up there? Okay.
Mm.
That's so
He
sweet.
put his head down. He put his head down while looking at me, which was a signal to pet me here. This is where I want to be. Probably
Mhm.
so he has a chance to make a fast escape if something happens.
Mhm.
He's a
Well,
big bird, but he's super chicken.
Auntie Sugar, I just watched it in the replay. Auntie Sugar has made some not so nice gestures towards Mando while he was down. So I think that's the reason why he wanted up again.
There you go. Probably it.
Yeah, you have no eyes and your back has done.
No, I wish I had their vision. I could see a lot more, but although it would be no fun at night if they don't see at night. But
So Jocelyn Triggle thinks bells get cinnamon hormonal. I don't know. I just know that some cockatoos like to wear bells as their head, which looks cute.
Oh, that was a
And
big dust cloud.
yeah, it's snowing again in Parrot. The Moluccan density is super high at Don's place at the moment.
I've got to blow out the all of my filters today, so it'll look like Christmas when I do that.
Mm.
Every 2 days, you drag them all outside and blow them out. So
So the other chatters talk about the nighttime routines with the birds. Who needs the most special nighttime routine in your flock, Dawn?
that's usually Cause, because Cause is one of those birds I cannot bring out with other birds out. Oh, I can, but I have to put her right down and keep my hand on her the entire time because she will launch at other birds, and she's always been a little different. She doesn't quite look at you straight on. She has some kind of an issue with her vision, although it's nothing that they could detect that the eye animal eye care center could detect. But she's one of the ones that's bonded to me, and she won't allow other birds around me. So I take her out, and usually I have to do something like pay bills or whatever I'm doing that day, where I have to sit in front of the computer to do some work. She'll come and sit with me. The rest of the other one is Snowball. Whenever I go near Snowball's cage, especially at night like that, I have to play a little frisbee with him. So You put the frisbee in through the bars, he kicks it back out at you. You do that for a while, then you finally get it around him, and then you get another frisbee and do that. So he likes that at night. He also likes to come out and be petted at night. That all started when he has one of the pad on his left foot, his right foot, it overgrows. So I have to work on it, whittle it down. And so I was taking him out of his cage for that purpose more frequently at night to do his foot. And now he expects it. So I go over there, he lifts one foot up, like, take me out. The other one, it would be Romeo, who gets out. He won't come out and stay away from his cage. So I take him out in front of his cage, and then I pet him at night before we, shut everything down. So he gets a half hour to 45 minutes out of his cage, sitting on my lap and getting petted and playing with me and that kind of thing. But he's a big scaredy cat. Now, the reason he's afraid is because they damaged his wings. Some brilliant human decided to convince a veterinarian to damage 4 of the follicles on his body, so he can't produce 4 of his flight feathers. So he can't balance himself. So he's literally unbalanced mentally because he can't balance physically. And whoever that was definitely a capitalist, because if I were a vet, I would have looked right at him and said, "So, do you kick dogs when you see them too?" I mean, because that's extremely evil to do to a bird. And if you're an avian vet and you do that, you should be in jail. So I don't know who did it to him. I have my guesses, but I don't know for sure. So, so he's the one.
GTH would like to know if Quasi is okay with the harness.
Yeah, I take her out too when I go places. If I'm just going to pick up water, because I use a lot of water and I don't have to stop anywhere else, or if I'm going to the Home Depot and to pick up water, then I put her in a harness and I take her in with me. The only problem is that you can't, if you go to Home Depot with a bird, you cannot get out of there quickly. You're not going to go in there and buy wood so that you can make toy wood for them and just walk in. You're going to get stopped by the people at the door. They're going to talk to you, and everywhere you go, somebody's going to say, "Oh, how cute."
Can it talk?
And she is cute. She's a really cute bird, but as far as I've used all the ABA techniques on her, and it doesn't make a difference in her case. Sometimes when you have an animal that's so damaged, you can't break them of some behaviors, but she won't bite anybody. She won't bite a human, and she doesn't really bite other birds, but she scares the heck out of them because she flies right into them and acts like she's going to bite them. So, but yeah, she goes out with me in a harness. Bob goes out with me in a harness too. I could take Bob anywhere except a place probably with more birds, but Bob's good that way too. And he talks a lot. Cos will say hi cockatoo, but Bob will be hello, or he'll just be chatting with people. Occasionally nip my ear a little bit, but when he's on my shoulder, but that's just the way he is. Doesn't hurt me, he just nips at it.
It's funny that the ones that are nicest with humans are the ones that have a bit of a flip switch when it comes to getting on with the other birds.
Well, actually, most of them are good. I mean, Mander does well outside. It's just that those are the two that need the extra time. So because Bob, he does end up, screwing up here and there, and he has to go back in, and he doesn't get as much time out. So Cos and Bob are the ones that need to get out the most. But I wouldn't take. Oh, thank you for that. Find a paper towel. Bear with me a second. I have.
So I can read the question by GTH. Would taking Quasi on special trips and only Quasi make Quasi's bond stronger?
Not really. Not with her. nothing seems to affect that bond one way or the other. She just is bonded to me, and that's that. She gets along with other people fine. Um, she doesn't particularly like the car trip, so I'm not sure that. But once she gets out and she deals with other people, she's happy about that. I think it might actually loosen the bond a little bit because she actually gets to deal with other people. That's probably the only thing that would work is if I had a crew of people and she was interacting with different people all the time. It might break some of it, but that's not going to happen. It's really hard to find volunteers, so I haven't found one in Pahrump yet. I've tried advertising and all that, and just nothing. So, but that might work. That yeah, getting someone else to work with her and train her would probably be good to help break it. As far as taking her with me, I don't see any change in her behavior. And she only behaves like that. She only goes after other birds when you put her in a place with other birds. It's just the way she is.
Yeah, I think the way she was kept for 10 years with basically no stimulation at all, yeah, somehow made her the way she is now, just sitting and
Yeah,
staring.
she was just there with Simone, her sister, and they just kept those two in an area between the garage and the kitchen all the time, and didn't give them much in the way of toys, so they just ripped each other's feathers out. Not only did they pull their own feathers, but they yanked each other's feathers out. So they didn't just have FDB, feather destructive
Mm.
behavior. They were also barbers. So
And Simone also
Yeah.
has the sort of attack helicopter mode as well.
yeah, it hasn't changed. The lady who has Simone has another. She has a lesser. Willow, and they can't be out at the same time. Well, with training it's possible, but I doubt it. Simone is just so territorial. She takes over. Her territory is the room that she's in, and so they come out at separate times. She's got two cockatoos, and they come out at separate times. She hasn't been able to overcome that issue at all. So, and she took there's two different courses from Dr. Friedman. One is a free course, which is the same material without the phone calls every week and without the testing and all that. But well, you get the tests, but you don't have Dr. Friedman, going through everything with you. So, but she still knows the basics, and she hasn't been able to change it. And so it's probably true that Cause and Simone both have issues from that 12 years that they were together in that room. So, and they were in the same cage. They looked like they had beak and feather disease when I first saw them. I've got pictures of them, and they were so tired. They were missing feathers on the top of their heads too, and that was because they were chewing each other's feathers off. It had nothing to do with beak and feather disease, but they look like it because that's how you tell beak and feather disease. When you look at a bird, you'll see that they have feathers missing, like a bird that tears its own feathers, but they're also missing feathers on their head, and some of the feathers are malformed. That's how you can tell it, by sight. So first thing I saw when I saw pictures of them was, my God, what's going on? And then I was told that they yank each other's feathers out. So, what are you doing? Hi, KK. Hi, KK. You're looking at a pink bird. What's the matter?
Mhm.
That's the sugar bird. Well, I think it's time, folks. So thanks for being here. And I don't know if you saw our little humorous thing I posted up on YouTube, but Romeo didn't lay any eggs. That's just an April Fool's joke. So
We're not really changing his name to Juliet.
no, we're not.
He has not broken the sanctuary record in laying eggs overnight. That was
No.
just us inventing stuff.
Yeah. Well, I could have made it just 2 eggs in there, but I like the 3 because it just was just way
Oh,
too
it looks
much.
so cute.
I even blurred the image of the eggs on the edges just enough so it looks like they're really in there. You know? Okay, folks. Happy April Fool's Day and happy belated Easter. We will see you on Wednesday, I hope. And bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Amy.